All right, good afternoon. How you doing here? This is Stockton, KXVS.org. This is the afternoon edition of Yellow Dot Spotlight Show, and today we're going to have some Earth Day Talks events that are coming up here. And today we have Bruce Giudici. Giudici, that's right. Sorry, I get tongue twisted on that. And thanks for coming on by for this afternoon show, and we'll talk about some Earth Day events and what's happening here.
Yeah.
Let me go this. All right, how you doing today, Bruce?
Just fine. It's great.
All right.
It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, definitely. So as we're approaching the 29th annual Earth Day event, it's really exciting to have all this come together. And water is life is the theme of this. And so could you help elaborate a little bit on what we're going to be doing this coming couple Sundays?
Well, on April 23rd, we're all going to get together out in Victory Park, and we have done that for the last, Victory Park for the last maybe 15 years, but this is the 29th year altogether when we get together and we celebrate the Earth. And so we have a bunch of informational booths that are placed all around the park, and just behind the museum, the Hagen Museum, and we have live entertainment on a stage, local people, and then we also have vegetarian food, and it's just a fun day. It's a free family day.
And for the community events,
yeah,
which is a nice gathering for Stockton, and everything. And so I noticed, you mentioned some of the booths. We could start there. That it's going to be an all vegan and all vegetarian.
Well, not vegan. It'll be vegetarian.
And some vegetarian in there, so you can get some of the good fatness that some of the vegans miss.
That's right. Yeah. So we have Sweet Delights and Go Falafel. They're going to be out there again. They've been out there the last on a number of years, and Java J's and Shaved Ice vendor will be out there, Deborah. And then we're going to have music, and the folks who are going to be out there, Shad Harris and the Groovinators. The Brubeck Institute is going to be there for an hour. Project 59 and Washboard Monkeys.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, so it's going to be just a good day from 11 to 4. At 10 o'clock, the day starts with yoga.
Okay.
And
there
so
we go. Get to feel good. Get the day started off.
Get ready, and we're guaranteeing that it's not going to rain. So that's something we always guarantee.
That's a good sign. That's a good sign.
There was one year when it did rain, but the rest of the time it's been dry.
That would have been water for life on that day, right?
Yes, that's right. We'll celebrate that too if it does come. That's fine.
So with the past celebrations, what's the nice gathering that you felt over the years and stuff with the community coming together? And
well, it's really nice. It's a real family get together. It's real low key. People just wander through. It's not you can take as long as you want at any of the. They're not really vendors. They're more giving out information, and so there's not a lot of selling involved. It's just learning, and so every year we do have vendors who come back and return, but the information they have is, like, say, for the water districts or the air districts or Audubon or Sierra or Restore the Delta, their message may change from year to year a little bit. Their mission is still the same. They're still working on water and air and pollution and climate change and things like that. But the neat thing is that as people, we've been doing this for 29 years, so we could actually have like 2 generations of people who've gone to these events and have learned different things from every year, because every year a child gets older. When they're 5 years old, they're interested in some things, and when they're 10 years old, they're interested in different things, and 15.
And those are some of the memory foundations when they do go out to events.
Yeah, and I'm pretty convinced that if there's a reason why these days millennials are more interested in the environment and the future and the long-term sustainability of this earth, it's because of events like this, where they learned that the earth is something to cherish and it's the only place we have to live. And so that's really become instilled in them. And so now when they're getting older and they're 18, 20, if somebody's turning 18, they've already been through to half of our Earth Days. And so it's kind of just nice to know that Earth Day is going to be there every year, that we're going to celebrate it in Stockton, and it's going to be supported by the city and by businesses and by just by the community.
And that's really great because each year they can come together and share those stories throughout the years, and that's the kind of a nice bonding aspect that the 1 year before. What other, this year's celebrating the water of life. What
Yeah.
other years have everybody can be talking about through the years of the other?
Oh, for past years,
yeah, the celebration
themes.
Themes, yeah.
I think the year before was talking about climate change. Water is a consistent theme. The year before that, I believe, was about bees. Because bees are becoming more and more endangered because of different toxins and things in the environment, and also just stresses, just general environmental stresses that animals are facing. But it's been habitat or air or water or pollution, recycling, all the different things that people can just focus on and have an impact individually, but also more community-wide. I mean, everybody can recycle a little more. Everybody can reduce their footprint. You can go with one reason why we have vegetarian food is because we're trying to show people that they can go one day without eating meat. And so if the United States went one day without with eating less meat, there would be a major impact on how much water we use, what sort of waste is generated. On top of the animal rights issues, there's just a major environmental issue that goes with what we consume. And so just by seeing that, I don't have to eat meat on a Sunday or maybe on a Monday, or just go meatless one day, and you'll have an environmental impact even without really sacrificing a whole lot. And so it's just those sorts of lessons that we want to show people and say, it's not that difficult. There are some difficult things that people are going to have to face. I mean, that communally we have to take a look at and say, well, are we going to go down the road of what the current administration is talking about is, getting rid of the restrictions or the miles per gallon limits on vehicles, so that I think in 2020 or 2025 they were shooting for like a fleet average of 50 miles per gallon for all the cars in the United States, which means for every car that gets 40 miles per gallon, there would have to be one that has 60 miles per gallon, because on average you'd have to have 50.
Yeah.
That was a goal that was placed out there. It was going to be an aggressive goal, and it was something that came in the wake of the Great Recession, when car companies were eager to stay afloat, and that was a concession that was extracted from them, and saying, okay, if you guys want to stay alive, you'll have to accept this fleet average. And now we have a new administration that prefers to maybe forget that obligation that the taxpayer, bailed these companies out. And now we're going to go back to, or at least the goal would be to go back to having fleets of huge SUVs that are gas guzzling and that make the car companies tons of money.
All right, and this is stuff that affects us every day. Little stuff. Each one of us is affected by that.
Right. When we purchase vehicles, I mean, it's what is your choice? And the car companies would say, well, people demand these gas guzzling cars. Well, if that's the only option you have, or that's the only thing you're marketing on TV, I mean, very seldom. You just don't see a whole lot of advertising for the electric cars or the
full
cars
information of the way of that,
Yeah, and the impact. The impact of a gas guzzling car or going with a zero emissions vehicle.
Definitely, and this is a lot of the information that we can find on Earth Day, to where we can kind of gather together, and we do talk about this periodically, but one day to actually focus on some of these items.
Right. And it's also a day when people can sort of learn something and then take that beyond that day and say, well, okay, I'm going to make a change, and this is something that I'm going to do for myself, but also for my children, for the environment, just for the future.
Yeah, and if you can make it 1 year to the next Earth Day, that's a progress right there.
Yeah, and then you can learn
to
one
the
more
next
thing.
Right.
One more thing. Yeah.
You just add through the years, and then through the 29th year, you'd have 29 things under your belt.
Exactly. And then also by learning this stuff, it gives you a perspective on the news that comes to you, and so you can see that when they're talking about the big tunnels that are the water tunnel. I mean, one of the reasons why water is life is because this is a big year of decision for the Delta tunnels, and generally people in the Stockton area are against the building of those big tunnels that are going to suck water, but that are going to take water from the Delta and just sort of bypass it and take it right down south. And so
Well, we're
thi-
used to our farmlands, and we don't want to harm our precious what we have out here.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if you just take the water away and then just allow the salt water to come in, all the whatever agriculture is here is going to be salted up, and you're just going to have, I guess, salt tolerant crops, but still it won't be the same as what we have now. I mean, it's not necessarily that the Delta is a pristine environment anyway.
Right, but it's not the best change for our future that we might want to look into.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, the thing is that and then there will be people out there who will be talking about, the quality of our water. And this has been a wonderful year for rainfall, but we definitely have learned through the last 5 years that we can't take our water for granted, and that this year may be a fluke of nature. It would be great if we had this much rain every year, but historically we haven't. And so, we have rains like this maybe once every 10 or 20 years. I mean, I think 1983 was the last record year that we had.
Well, that's amazing. I remember growing up that you had almost regular season. You can expect the rain.
Yes.
It would almost rain on Halloween sometimes. You'd be like, please don't rain on Halloween.
And almost rains on Earth Day.
Right, and almost Earth Day too. Right? We'll just all have buckets out there. We catch the water. Really. But, I'm hopefully looking forward to myself, like at Hogan Lake, which is a self-sustaining water.
Hogan, they're coming down and they're going to be presenting stuff.
Good. Definitely.
I live near New Hope.
Definitely. I grew up over by La Quintana, Hole 7. We built our own house up there in the 80s, and beautiful country. And I always love visiting back out that way. But so water is life, and that's the event that we're having with the Earth Day here.
Indeed. Yeah, April 23rd.
April 23rd,
from
definitely.
11 to 4 at Victory Park in Stockton.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful gathering. Every year. You can always see people you might not have seen all year, but that's a great venue to go catch up on some information.
Yeah, it's a safe venue. It's always been safe. It's just a nice, big family picnic almost.
Definitely, with the Victory Park, you got the museum there, and all sorts of events that can be happening, and everything. Yeah. And so, with the wonderful committee that you've put together, you guys are putting the hard work in there. Anything else that we could share?
Well, the day before, and I know you're going to be talking with Ava about this. But there's a March for Science that is happening on the actually the National Earth Day, and the traditional Earth Day is April 22nd. But we've always held our Earth Day on the Sunday that's closest to that, and so that's the 23rd. But on actual Earth Day, the 22nd, there's going to be a March for Science that's going to be at Victory Park as well. It's going to be marching around Victory Park in solidarity with the National March for Science. It's going to be happening all over the country. And that's going to be from 9 to 11 at Victory Park. And so you'll be talking with Ava about that.
Yes, Friday we'll have that.
But so that's going to be a great new event for Stockton, and we'll just see if how that catches on, and if we can, somehow include that with our Earth Day festivities next year.
Oh, that'd be great. Start one Saturday at a time each year.
That's right.
I heard that we might try to get a gathering of hands as round as we can.
That's right. Yeah. See if we can. I think Ava figured out it's like about 1,030 people it would take to if you had hands around Victory Park.
Oh, we got that easy.
Yeah, you bet. I mean, there's like 300,000 people in Stockton.
Right. That's awesome in there. Yeah. So that's going to be a great new event added to the whole Earth Day package each year and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's kind of a neat thing. Yeah. Would you suggest people camping out for the first day and just kind of? Maybe the park won't allow that.
They probably won't like it.
Right. I'm just kidding. I'm camping out all weekend. I'm bringing
that's a nice idea, though.
Right,
in terms
little
of
slumber party.
And getting,
I'm just kidding around. But that's wonderful. It's going to be a great, eventful weekend of a lot of information and with the science and Earth coming together, technology and humans as we progress together. It's a wonderful thing that we keep sharing. Each year.
Well, it's all we have,
Right.
I mean, people talk about going to Mars or something, but this is the only planet we have. It's the only habitable thing that we've ever been able to find, and that's anywhere near to us. And so it's really important that we cherish it and that we protect it. And so, and especially in the coming years, it seems that there's some leadership that's out of Washington there's some voices that are saying that we don't need to protect it as much, that we've done enough. But we
Well,
know that
it seems like in the past, Earth will take care of itself, and we might get bumped. I don't know.
Well, that's
you know.
yeah.
Yeah,
I guess
Earth
in the long run, we're not.
I know, but
we're all
it's like,
gone,
let
but-
Earth take care of it. No, we have to take care of it.
In geologic time,
Right.
it's a snap of time.
Right, but the humans, as our
Yeah.
inhabitants, it's a good thing to take care of.
And the
Earth.
diversity. I mean, it's just the amazing biological diversity of this world. I mean, it's just, if you just notice what sort of animals and plants have evolved over the millennia, it's just astounding and amazing how different animals interact. And it's just it's a crime to destroy any piece of that fabric. And so we really have to, notice and stand up when that sort of damage is being proposed.
Definitely, especially when it feels unnatural. You can, those signals really come out. When things go against kind of nature, so to say. When that doesn't happen. And so, we start off with a small community, and we get a little bigger and a little bigger, and we end up all of Earth. Hopefully, we're all conscious of that.
That's right.
Yeah,
and that's what events like Earth Day on April 23rd from 11 to 4 at Victory Park in Stockton. Events like that are a start for a lot of people. A lot of people just aren't exposed to these sorts of issues because it's just not something you see on commercial TV. It's not something you have to, sort of look for it. And so this is an easy way to just sort of get exposed to a lot of different ideas and to see, well, what's the deal? What's going on?
Yeah, maybe some people are more into it than others, but this is a great time to just to let everybody know for one day, like you said. Maybe don't eat meat for a day and feel how it is, and it's really not that bad not to go one day or so.
Not at all.
And so that's going to be a great event, and the radio station here, KXVS, will be there filming everything live, and live interviews and live streams. And
the entertainment's going to be great. It's going to be a
definitely
wonderful show.
And I get to wear two hats because I get to play that day too.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Right.
So we're with the we're even confused. We're with the Yellow Dot / the House of Willow.
Okay. Oh, the House of Willow. You're opening up.
Yeah. We kind of give off kind of an Earth vibe. We have some didgeridoos
cool.
and some electronica. So it's kind of like electronica Earth vibe. So
a slow opening to the day.
Yeah, it is kind of a nice warm up type
nice.
deal. From what I've heard, it's yoga. Into the drum circle, and then to us, and then into the rock bands where we start pumping the day up.
That's right.
Right. So, but well, this was great. I think let's see, we'll check the time. We have a half hour before the next show in here. Oh yeah, we got a few more minutes.
Yeah.
And then, well, this is great, Bruce, and definitely always enjoy coming to the meetings and committees, and it's always interesting that.
We've the organization, the Peace and Justice Network, is the sponsoring a nonprofit that does this educational work, and so we set up committee meetings pretty much at the beginning of the year and meet every week on this year it's been Monday nights, and so at the beginning it's a little bit slower, but at the end, it's like there's booths flying all over the place. We're going to have over 70 booths.
Wow, that's
and
amazing.
So,
that's good.
Yeah, and it's going to be, and so people just sort of notice, oh my gosh, it's almost time, and so they have to start, getting their application in.
Right, it's like last minute. It's like those 30-minute sitcoms, It's all crazy for 20 minutes, but then the last 10 minutes,
it all comes together, and it's just a lot of fun because it's you find people who you thought weren't going to be coming because of, then they say, well, can I make it? And they say, yeah, like New Hogan today. So we've had some staff changes, and so the letter or the email fell through the cracks. So, but since we're local and low key and not really they have not really based on a whole lot of money. The cost of the event is never more than $10,000 a year, and that's in terms.
That's a wonderful budget for a huge event.
As far as events go, that's not very much. And so we're able to because the bands don't charge a whole lot because all we need is insurance and a couple permits. And the city supports us, and SAWS, the local water people, support us, and PG&E supported us last year, and hopefully we'll
that's a great
next
community,
year.
So those are the important items that we live day by day, and
so it doesn't cost a whole lot. It's a community-based event, and it's local. It's not controlled by some large entity outside. We decide what we want as our theme, and we decide what booths we want to include, and it has to have an environmental focus.
Right, more kind of a theme with what's happening each year.
Definitely, yeah. You can't. I mean, so a booth just can't come in and say, well, we're going to sell firecrackers or something.
Right,
I don't know.
For the year, but it's not.
Right, yeah. But the thing
we
is,
might use water to put them out, but I don't know if it's going to be a
stretch.
equation.
That's a stretch. But recycled clothing can come through. Like so if you're a Goodwill type of store, that would be fine, because we're talking about recycling clothing, and then that's being closer. That's having a smaller footprint, closer to the ground.
There we go. And with the community, it seems like the ones that really work hard and they get not a lot of acknowledgement, but volunteers.
Yeah.
You always put out for all the volunteers, and how does that work? Or
yeah, if you want to volunteer, come on out to the day about let's say from 7 to 8. We're going to be moving the tables out to the middle of the park, because we have to get our tables and chairs all set up so that the booths can all set up. And then at the end of the day, which is when everybody's dragging at 4 o'clock, if you want to volunteer to take the tables back, that's great. But then also there's all sorts of opportunities to help show people around and show people to their booths, or help people with loading and unloading their own their booths. There's just all sorts of volunteer things on the day, and then you can talk to people who are doing booths, so that finding out what sort of volunteer work you can do for the environment through the year. And so if you want to do a river cleanup type of thing, or if you want to attend a city council meeting, or a water board meeting, or if you want to write a letter, or there's just all sorts of a lot of these organizations are volunteer groups themselves, and they're environmental groups, and they want to help sustain our environment. So
yeah, it's just more than just one day for them. I mean, you can just
yeah.
keep carrying on, even just a little bit of your time.
Yeah, so you can learn about organizations where you can volunteer for the environment. And a lot of people just wonder, well, what can I do? Well, come on out to Earth Day, introduce yourself to these different organizations, and you might find one that's really perfect for you.
Definitely, and I love this town. I've grown up here pretty much all my life, and it's Mayberry, Stockton to me. I mean, really, even though it's expanding and it shrinks and stuff like that, we all know each other in this town by one finger on our hand.
Yeah.
One person. That's really neat of a town, which is really rare that I go into a town of friends or other families. There's a different net that Stockton has, and I've always appreciated that.
Yeah, and you'll find a lot of those friends at Earth Day, because they do keep coming back, and they have a same attitude of preserving the earth.
Definitely. Well, thanks, Bruce, for coming in today.
Thank you.
And this was a great, exciting chat.
Good time.
It's always good to chuckle, laugh, cry a little.
Yeah, you bet.
Right?
Yeah.
That stuff.
We're moving forward.
That's right. So Earth Day, folks.
April 23rd from 11 to 4 at Victory Park in Stockton.
All right. Well, thanks. And that'll conclude this afternoon's show of the Yellow Dot Spotlight Show.
Cool.
All right. Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you.
All right. Cool. We'll set this